All right, welcome everybody. I am here with my good friend Robinson Smith. Welcome, Robinson. How the heck are you?
I'm 100%. Steve, yourself?
Man, I would love to top that with like 101 or 110, but I'm right there with you. I'm loving today. Yeah, I just have this whole new energy I got with me right now since I got back from Thailand. Maybe it's still the sun or the sunburn that I'm wearing, but I'm loving it. No, thank you so much for being here and taking the time out of your busy day to share some light on a really valuable strategy. Now, it was your dad, Fraser Smith, who created the Smith maneuver, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a financial planner back in the mid 80s, and he was interested in the fact that the Americans could deduct the interest on their mortgage and we Canadians couldn't. So he didn't think that was very fair. And being the bulldog he was, he put his head down, read the Tax Act, and came up with the Smith maneuver.
Thank you, sir. Wicked cool. I know that you're going to be coming to our meetup on April the 16th, and you'll be diving into more of the details and more of the benefits and more of the sequence of what happens and how to utilize it to its full potential. But I want to give people watching this quick video a couple of little nuggets, right? A couple of little teasers and some real kind of practical tips on what they can do with the Smith maneuver and why it's really important to them. So for everybody watching right now, where I want to start is, a lot of people have a really busy day. Maybe you're only watching a couple of minutes of this video, like in between meetings or whatever. So Robinson, what is like one or like the most important thing that people should know about the Smith maneuver?
The most important thing, I guess, if we only got a few floors heading up in the elevator, is the fact that Canadian homeowners have two very pressing financial concerns right now. One, for the majority of Canadians, they've got a mortgage, this big, ugly, stinking mortgage. It costs them a fortune. They want to get rid of it as fast as they can.
Yeah.
And the other pressing concern they have is they want to be able to save for retirement. But it's conventional practice to attack the mortgage first rather than save for retirement because, mainly two reasons. One being inertia. We've been growing up our whole lives being told by everybody around us that debt is bad. And so we've got this mortgage. We think we should concentrate on the mortgage. But the second reason that this decision on which to attack first is made up for us is because we don't have the ability to make this decision for ourselves. I mean, we've got this mortgage payment, which is contractual. We've got to make this mortgage payment, but we don't have to invest for our retirement. That is not contractual. By the end of the month, there's so little money left over that, let's just focus on the mortgage. But with the Smith maneuver, we can attack these two important goals, mortgage and retirement, sequentially, do them at the same time. So we attack both the mortgage and our retirement savings immediately, starting now. As soon as we're able to refinance our mortgage, we don't lose out on the magic of compound growth because we're putting significant sums away each and every month starting now. We're not having to wait until that mortgage is paid out before we can start saving for retirement.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, that traditional system that most people follow by is something that I think we're both on a mission to not necessarily break, but just shed more light that there's alternative routes that can get you further ahead towards your retirement and a whole lot quicker. Am I right?
That's absolutely it.
That's absolutely it. Beautiful.
We have to wait 25 years before our mortgage is paid out and only then start saving for our retirement. It's too late. We've lost out.
Absolutely, man. I love it. I love that you found us and we found you, and that we're continuing to build this relationship. And I see huge things for this maneuver for our community and for just like Canadians worldwide, Canadians nationwide. And so like let's dive into some of the gritty details of it. I guess maybe let's start with some of the basics. Like, what are a couple of like the general benefits that the Smith maneuver can deliver to a homeowner or a investor?
Yeah, well, when we borrow to consume, so credit card debt, lines of credit, we borrow or get a car loan, something like that, or when we buy our house, all of that debt is non-deductible and it's hugely expensive. We all know that instinctively, right? We see it coming out of our bank accounts each and every month. But in Canada, if we borrow to invest with a reasonable expectation of earning income, we can deduct the interest on that borrowing. And so what the Smith maneuver allows is with a special type of mortgage called a readvanceable mortgage, you'll be very familiar with it. The amount of borrowing that the bank is willing to offer us will stay constant. As soon as we make any payment against that mortgage balance, they'll allow us to get back at the equity we've just created by that regular mortgage payment, and we can do anything we want with it, right? And what we're doing with that is we're borrowing that back out to invest in any number of things. But what that does is that converts the non-deductible mortgage that's secured by your house into the deductible debt of an investment loan. So we're generating a few very beneficial things right off the bat. We're borrowing to invest. We're saving for our future right away. We are generating tax deductions. These lead to a refund that otherwise we wouldn't receive. And we take this refund and we prepay our mortgage. We make an extra payment against that mortgage. And because we're doing so, that non-deductible debt goes away in record time. Wow. And so that's the basics of the Smith maneuver. We're going to get rid of our mortgage real quick. We're going to improve our tax liabilities by generating tax deductions, and we're going to start saving each and every month, whereas otherwise we didn't have the funds to do so. And none of this requires any new money on a monthly basis to implement. You don't have to spend an extra hour at work to see the benefits. Typically, it's worth maybe $300,000, $350,000 to a Canadian homeowner just by implementing the strategy.
That's epic. I mean, yeah, when I was reading through some of the notes, I saw that $350,000 to the average Canadian homeowner, and I was like, damn, why the heck don't more people do this? And I think a big piece of it is just not everybody remembers that it's still here. You know, 15 years ago or whatever it was, you know, it was probably more widely talked about because it was you know, your father's book was published, and you know, maybe it was a new concept, and maybe that novelty of a new concept has worn off the last little while. But I'm so glad that we're talking about it now because, you know, like it is one of the biggest fires that Randy and I have on like helping people along their financial life, especially with real estate. And part of what you were talking about is that with the readvanceable mortgage is you can go reinvest into more real estate, can you not?
Yeah, the basic plain Jane Smith maneuver, we call it, is taking that principal reduction from your regular mortgage payment, $750,000 a month, whatever it is, and getting it invested and getting all these benefits. What you invest in is up to you. You can, as long as you're borrowing with the expectation of a reasonable expectation of generating income, you can deduct the interest on money you borrowed to invest in stocks, bonds, mutual funds, your business, somebody else's business, or real estate. And we have what we call accelerators to make this whole process go much quicker. So we just talked about the benefit being between $300,000 and $350,000 for a typical Canadian. Well, that shoots way up when we implement the accelerators. And the cash flow dam is probably of particular interest to followers of the reinvestors, because that involves taking some investment real estate you earn and redirecting the cash flow that you receive on a monthly basis through your principal residence mortgage, borrowing it back out, and then servicing the rental property expenses such as the mortgage, utilities, property taxes, etc. See, when we have a proprietorship like this, most Canadians are handling their investment properties not the best that they could. They're taking the rental receipts from their renter, and right away they're paying the mortgage on that rental property. So they're missing out on a huge opportunity. I mean, if you're getting $2,000 in rental receipts, make a $2,000 a month prepayment against your mortgage, that thing is gone in record time.
Yeah, that's kind of blowing my mind a little bit right now.
And that's why it's so important for people involved with the reinvestors to know about this, is because that's their jam. They want to get out, they want to invest in real estate. Once they find that deal, once they've invested in it, once they're, maybe it's cash flowing, maybe it's not, maybe they're responsible for expenses, maybe they're not, but that would be just a different type of accelerator. So you guys are training people how to get involved in investment in real estate. Where I come in, where the Smith maneuver comes in, is once that home is refied and there's this equity takeout, which allows them to go in investment real estate, there's so much more they could do. They're invested with you guys and they're doing great, but they are leaving their principal residence, their non-deductible mortgage alone. And so there's a huge opportunity to implement the Smith maneuver, especially with you guys, your programs.
Yeah, no, I freaking love it. And one of the things you were just saying, really kind of maybe a light bulb went off a little bit, where as it's not eliminating the debt that you have, but you're converting it. I may not be saying that right, but you know what I mean? Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a debt conversion strategy. It's not a debt elimination strategy.
Right.
The whole education process that we go through when we're talking to Canadian homeowners, it's a bit of a challenge educating people the difference between non-deductible debt and deductible debt. Bad debt, non-deductible debt, destroys wealth. Good debt creates wealth. But we've been growing up our whole lives being told that all debt is bad. We got this blanket idea of debt. But we need to start thinking like the wealthy. Chances are you know the name Jimmy Pattison, and all the people listening to this will know Jimmy Pattison. I'll tell you what Jimmy did not do to become one of the wealthiest Canadians. He did not save up enough cash to buy his first car dealership without any borrowing, right? He didn't sit in a corner office waiting to sell enough cars to make enough cash to buy his second dealership in cash, right? He got a down payment together, he got a mortgage, he bought that dealership. Then he took equity out of the first dealership, bought another one. He owns 43 car dealerships, dozens of radio stations, outdoor advertising, all these good things, Guinness Book of World Records, Ripley's, that's him. So he learned very early on that a paycheck isn't going to make you wealthy. It's simply not. So what we're doing here is we're behaving like the wealthy in order to improve our financial position. Mm-hmm. And that requires a bit of a mind shift to accept that there are two types of debt. And so it's a bit of an education process. The younger generation tends to be a little more open to it when compared to the older generations. But a minute ago, you mentioned that there wasn't a whole lot of talk about the Smith maneuver. Well, when the book came out in 2002, shortly after, Fraser went into back to financial planning, and I joined him in 2006. The amount of business that we got meant that we weren't doing any advertising. The book was out, that's fine. There's no promotion of the book or anything like that. But now there's this whole new generation of homeowners. They've now got homes, and financial professionals as well. And so there's this real opportunity to get back out there and educate the Canadian homeowners, Canadian financial professionals, mortgage brokers, investment advisors, etc., just to get people back into the mindset that we need to behave like the wealthy in order to improve our financial position. And so that requires a conversation around debt.
Man, I'm so glad we're doing this. Like, you are just tugging at all my heartstrings. And like, we've talked a couple different times at previous meetups and on other videos about good debt versus bad debt. And like, it took a long time for me to recognize what that looked like, and because it's not really taught in schools, and like my parents really never had the financial savviness to teach me, what the wealthy do. And one of the quotes that we first saw when we first got into real estate was 4 of the 5 millionaires made their first million through real estate, and that's wealth right there. And if that's not something that like resonates with you, then I don't know what's gonna shift your mindset. And so that mindset between the debt being bad and good, as well as like, no matter if you're thinking real estate or if you're thinking stocks or a completely different world, like if you are doing car sales or anything, like, so whoever your idol is, that image of who you want to be, somebody's already done that.
Yeah.
All you have to do is learn what they did, try to stick on that line, maybe add your own flavor or your own strategy into it, and just do exactly what they did. We're not recreating any wheels here. All we're doing is ROR, ripping off and repeating. And hopefully what we do is we add a little bit of our own flavor and make it unique to yourself. But that's wicked. And you mentioned the book, 2002, that was 17 years ago. And so you have a revision coming up soonish, right?
Yeah. The last revision that my dad did on the book was 2005. So that was a good number of years ago. And it's time to redo it. I mean,
Yeah.
he's talking about in his book, okay, if you've got $100,000 mortgage, who's got $100,000 mortgage anymore, right? So I'm reading the book, New Values, New Assumptions. That'll be out in a couple of months, along with the new Smithman calculator, which allows Canadian homeowners to punch in all their own personal information, house value, mortgage details, everything, and calculate what the Smith maneuver can do for them. So looking forward to getting that out, as well as there's going to be a few online courses for Canadian homeowners and financial professionals to take.
Yeah, beautiful. Is that calculator public, or can we share that, or?
Yeah. The current book and the current calculator on the website, smithman.net. And in a couple of months, when the new stuff is out, it'll be on the website as well.
Awesome. Smithman.net.
Smithman.net.
Perfect. Right on. I guess we're kind of winding down here. One of the questions I want to ask you is just like, if people are really compelled to know this now, where should they start? Should they go to smithman.net? Do you want to give out your personal cell phone number? It's up to you. Email addresses, what's the best way for them to start today?
Yeah, go to the website. There's a phone number on the website. If you don't want to buy the book, go to the library and check it out. Ask your friends if they got a copy. The most important thing here is to just continue educating yourself. I mean, that's the biggest problem we have, is people just aren't educated. And it's not like they're lazy or whatever the case may be. It's a lot of the times people just don't know what strategies are out there available to them. So pick up the book, pick up any book on finances, personal finances, go to seminars like yours, but that's the first step is get the book, learn what it's about. I'm on Facebook as of 6 months ago, finally, right? I'm a little late bloomer on the social media thing. So I've got a quarterly newsletter that you can sign up on the website. But that's, it's education. It's deciding that you want to learn more. And the people who follow you, they're already along that. They've already got that mindset. They're willing to learn. And so it's just, let's learn about what we can do with our own principal residence mortgage, in addition to what we can do with investment real estate and how they mesh beautifully. Like, for example, if someone doesn't even have enough equity in their home to pull out to get a chunk to invest in real estate now, you execute the Smith maneuver, you're putting $1,000 a month away in securities, mutual fund, or whatever the case may be. It won't take long until you've built up 50 grand. Sell that, take the cash, go talk to the REINVESTORS boys,
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, come talk to us. I appreciate that. No, I mean, education is number one, right? That's one of the biggest problems in all of our society right now, is that it's not, that's a whole other conversation, but the education is why we do our monthly meetups. It's why we continue to do videos on Facebook. It's why we continue to provide content on Facebook and Instagram on our websites. It's why we do courses. It's education basically fixes all, as long as you have the action to go along with it. So I have this kind of phrase I've been playing around with, where let's use that ideal person that you want to be again, kind of metaphor. And, think of them in your mind real quick. I know exactly where I want to be. What is the difference between where I am today and where that later Steve is? The only difference is education and action.
Exactly it. That's
education plus action equals the difference between where you are today versus where you want to be. And I'm so freaking glad that you're on board and helping people understand more of these systems and strategies to use to just better off their financial world down the road.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the biggest risk we have is complacency. It's either taking an active or passive decision that I'm not going to do anything. Well, what happens when you don't do anything? You earn 0% interest. And that is not nice. In fact, because of inflation, you're earning less than zero.
Yeah, you're losing money then.
It's a decision to say, I'm gonna take some action. I'm gonna educate myself. I'm gonna take some action to improve the financial lives of myself and my family, and I'm gonna stick at it because these things work. Educate and action. Absolutely.
Yeah, I love it. Beautiful. Well, let's wrap this up. Anybody who's still watching, check out smithman.net. Ask some friends for books. I know that we're going to have a couple at our meetup to give away. So if you don't know anybody, just come to our meetup, April 16th, Gorge Vale. I'll include some ticket details in the comments below, as well as the links to get in touch with you, Robinson. And just from the bottom of my heart, my friend, thank you so much for helping spread the word, and just for doing all this educational work to better off the lives of future generations and Canadians today.
Yeah, well, it's been a pleasure, Steve, and I'm glad to see you managed to stay on your feet this time.
Yeah, did you watch that? That was oops.
Yeah, you got up very gracefully, though, Steve.
Thank you. Yeah, for anyone who didn't watch the first video last week or earlier this week or whatever day it was with Kyle Green, I ran over to my bookshelf right there, and I just put on some new socks that were kind of slippery, and I took a tumble. But
it was a yard sale. Yeah.
It totally was. Arms up, legs up. Oh man, that was fun. But hey, that's the beauty of doing video recordings. You just got to roll with it.
All good.
Awesome. Well, thanks again. And I hope that a whole bunch of people will contact you, which I'm sure they will. And you can meet, shake hands with Robinson Smith April 16th. And I'm looking forward to diving in deeper into more of the strategy and the benefits and how people can tangibly take things away from that meetup to go apply into their own lives. So yeah, thank you so much. Go enjoy a wonderful afternoon, and we'll see you on the 16th.